This is Gerald Turvanwas. I had already a couple of videos with the combination of P and R. The words that are most different, I think, from port, that I explained port, is PORC. With just one letter difference, it's almost incomprehensible that when I say that every letter has a specific position of describing a certain activity, a certain action, a certain focus, also a certain orientation, and all what is happening, how can POR also lead to PORC? While POR in port it was sounded a bit like an invitation to a place where you haven't been before and you could have access to. So how could this lead to PORC? I will explain that to you. I will also add la porte, and I will also add a port, and I will also add PORTO in the end. In the background are is a theory with the different orientations that are described in a certain order, where you can have the geometrical order in space, the directions in timing, and the time-space context that you can also figure out. 3 times 3 dimensions that are in balance with each other and that have a relationship with each other are a structure beyond that, which is pretty simple and which we actually also figure out and choose actually the right letters from it. Once you understand the system, you understand actually all the words as well. Once you understand this system actually, which is lying behind it, which goes automatically, which our mind chooses automatically, just because it's there, it's a structure. It is at 1, 2, 3 option only. 3 times 3 times 3 options that you have in what your mind can choose, where you can go to or where you can stay or where you have to make something different. And we had already port before, which I said already, it looks a bit like this invitation that pushes out its results, but which are there actually beyond that place where you are right now. So you don't have them yet, but they are there as an access point, and this access point is there. And this access point is an access point to another place. So literally it is that doorway passage to another place, which you could open also, like the R is making a connection. It's even there in the door, not in the door, it's there as well. While door is comparable as well, that you also start from a place and you go towards another place at some other time. That's also, you can also have that image in front of it. Here it is port. So the port is that image, more like it's almost like a character that you say, and it acts like a portal to bring you to this other place at some point or another. That was actually a port. But now I'll have to go to PORC, and how can I go there with just one letter difference? The O itself here, I emphasize here a little bit, it was written with 1 O, but actually it were 2 O's. It was like this potential door knot, let's say, like, okay, this potential that, just symbolically, the potential that I will have an access to at some point, and then I will make that access also, and then I will make that connection to this other frame of also 3 dimensions in space, because T is space. So then I will be able to go to another place. I will open it at some point. I'll have an opening at some point that I can go to another place. That's the port. Where the P is that opening and the R is that connection, which finally will be made at the right time and space. So at some time, at a certain point, that I will make a decision. It's an open aspect that will be opened at a certain moment via O. PORC has the same structure in POR, so also that is beyond that is this mindset where I have this potential, where I can go to where I can proceed and have the process also proceeding, going towards that other stage where something else is beyond it. So it is a preparation again. So I'm repeating also everything with the P, so that you understand what the P as a process, as a pressed out element can mean actually. So this P at some time means it's at the end of a process of all directions. You follow the directions, and at some point you will go via O and make connection to a finalized process also. The finalized process in PORTE is going to lead to T, so to a position or function, a place usually, but the C is a reference to something else. It's also in the physical plane, because it's a letter from the first category, which is about focuses in space. Which kind of focuses? It's the focus on the surface. It's a surface which has variations. It's a focus around here, and you look actually on what do I have as almost as a structure, also a physical surface. So the development goes also to what is there to see at that physical surface. So in PORTE, that place is always there. In PORC, that surface is always there, but the time has to be ready so that you have access to that point, to access it at the right moment and place, as the R also says. I only go there. The R is from the last category, which says it's a potential frame, which I say when the definitions are right, I will go there. So it goes to a physical surface. So that's actually what it will have access to. It will not have access to a place, but it will have access to that physical surface. So O is then, of course, that moment where you go into that process and you say, yes, I will process it, and I will go to that process. I will check this process. O is also the double O, of course. Funny thing is, with the double O, it reminds me also a little bit of, PORTE is double O, but it's just one O. It's not just, I've shown it here in one go, but I can also have it more focused forwardly, because O is also going forward. It's actually saying I engage a process. This is the process on the door not. If I would emphasize actually the end result, and the end result is in the first word in T, and the other end result is in C, I could have my end result also already show it a little bit better in the first part, in the structure. So the structure is there. You know, the pot is like a door. The door is there. But the T in the end will focus on not just places, but also on functions. What are the features or distinctive features that are most important? Is actually like how many parts are there. So like part, it's almost the same. I emphasize here the parts. In fact, yes, that's what you have emphasized here. The parts to get you to the port are like the door knot, the door sign, let's say, and then the place. So these are the distinctive features. If I emphasize them a little bit more, I even see it better what is already the access point and where the access point is a reference to. And I can do the same with PORC, of course. With PORC, I will have the same structure, but I will have more emphasis on the C parts. The C parts are the surface differences. So when I go to O, also, okay, there's a part that I will, also in the P, I could have that, and the O, I could have that, to the C, I could have that. They are the parts that are developing at the borders in all of its developments. I could emphasize that a little bit. And then the C in the end is even more that breaking up part. So the C can be pronounced so it's about 3 different focuses at the border, and you're not very sure what to focus upon, so you give it extra attention when you pronounce it as S. You go to all the variations where you pronounce it like K. You will try to see the differences. So how many differences do I have on this surface, on this outer shell actually? So I have breaking points. So I also focus on the breaking points. Where does it break, and where can I have distinctions? Where can I have differences? Where can I have the different things on the physical surface? And that's of course what the PORC is. The PORC is not the pig. The PORC is all the slices that you can have from the pork. Oh, here's the leg, here's the head, here's the neck. That's the PORC. It breaks it apart, like you have the end conclusion in K. You break it apart and you say, okay, here I have it. And how do you see when it's ready? You see it at the physical features at the surface. So the borders or the surface, that's the same thing. You can see when is it ready. It's ready at the right time and space, at the right time and at the right place. You can see, yes, here it is, and here I can use it. I have access to it. I can have access to the parts. Here the parts will be different in PORC because they emphasize the breaking points, which you also see there. They almost have the distinction how we also design C as well. So you break them into the parts that you can say, okay, they are useful. You don't have access to them immediately. R is you only connect when the connections are ready, when everything is ready. What is ready should be ready when the material is ready, of course. Then you have access to it. Then you will have access to the PORC. The pig is there all the time. It grows and so on. Once it's ready, it can turn and change into the PORC. And the PORC is the parts of the meat which I will break apart and choose and have access to at the right time, at the right moment. PORTE is just a place. You also have not just port, you also have, of course, the French word porte, which means door, which you already said, which I already showed you. It's so easy to go from a port to a door, and actually the French word for door is porte. The E will emphasize the going towards the other place. It's T, you don't hear the E. So it is more like in the background, but you need, of course, this axis of going towards the other place. That's where the port is meant for. As a door, it is meant to go the other. It's not just like the port or like the harbor, which is just there and it just waits for the right moment to go to another place. Here, this is really the function. It's even more the function. It's a passage to go through, not to go to another place, but also to go through, not just go to another place, but also to pass through. In this case, that's why PORTE port with an E is a little bit different. You even have PORTO, which can be confusing, because how can you have PORTO on the same basis? And I will design it a little bit, just a bit superficially, but PORTO clearly also has that connotation of the port or the harbor also, where everything moves away, as well, like how the harbor functions. But the harbor is also that access, or the port is also that access point to go to have a process done first, and then to go to another place. With O, it's not just another place, it's again an emphasis with this O to the process. O is about processes, it's about processes in time. So it's again a bit more emphasis to where shall I go to, what is this unknown space. No, it's not just a space, it's a space in which a process is occurring. Not designing it perfectly, but you see it that you have here two parts. You go to a place, the place is actually Porto refers to a harbor, a port, even a city. And then in that place, it's also connected to something which at a place develops itself, or has a development in it, where it can show its development as well, with its own stage of development, which is O. O is actually more about a certain stage or moment of development, not a whole development process or a highlight of a process. No, it is a certain stage of development, and that fits also more with Porto. So that's why it's not PORTE, but Porto. And it even still fits, even though the form could be still a bit confusing and a bit blurry for some people, maybe, if you don't immediately understand what I'm already saying, like what do you have to recognize there. I could make more effort to make it more beautiful, but it's about, how do you understand it? What's the order of words? Where do they lead to? You can read them in my system as well, where they come from, and you can read them in the order of letters where they lead to and what they describe. And that's what I was talking about, and that's how you could also recognize why port or PORTE or PORC can be understood from it, and even PORTO can be understood very well once you understand what you have to, how do you have to read each letter and the combinations of letters. That's it for now. Thanks again for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.